Nearly 9 out of 10 wildfires nationwide are caused by the carelessness of humans and could be prevented. But together, we can make a difference.
Watch what I can do!
Help protect the home of our forest friends.
He can call me a flower if he wants to.
To find out more, log on to SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
This message has been brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, the National Association of State Foresters, and the Ad Council.
Come on! You could do it!
What you playing for us right now? Oh, okay. Give me 5. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the To Be Determined show right here on TNT-Radio.net. I'm the Orc of Ominous, the Architect of Intellect, the Wicked Nemesis, and joining me, of course, is the former NWA Women's World Champion, Tasha Simone. Sis, how you doing tonight?
I hate everybody, and if anybody gets in my face tonight, I'm going to cut their throats and watch them bleed out.
That sounds like a plan. And that laughter you hear in the background, that awkward laughter you hear, is actually our new co-host, Fast Eddie Lane of Beyond Ringside fame. How you doing tonight, Eddie?
We're still recovering from the flu. Got about 30% of my voice and about 80% of my attitude.
80%? Jesus. That doesn't sound good.
Need another hypodermic needle for that to actually kick back in full speed.
Hey, let's not talk about needles now. This is a wrestling show. We'll have people lined up for miles trying to get on.
That's probably... No, I was at the doctor yesterday, and actually, put it this way. Here's what my doctor did. I had 2 hypodermic needles in one cheek, 1 antibiotic per, B12, Decadron. Then he turned around and gave me a prescription for a Z-Pack and Tamiflu. And Tylenol 3, cough syrup with codeine. So
okay, that made... Okay. You're sick. We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate it, but we're going to waste no time.
Good.
Because this woman is ready. This woman is fired up. It's one of those weeks. Tasha, it is time for your segment, ma'am. Tasha Knows Best. Tasha, what do you know best this week?
This week's segment is not going to be just Tasha Knows Best. It's going to be called Know Your Place in the Pecking Order. Now, that doesn't mean if you're a greenhorn, remember you're a greenhorn and keep your mouth shut. What that means is, if you're a wrestler, be a professional wrestler. If you're an announcer, be an announcer. Don't come in my space and act like you're going to be a professional wrestler or a manager. If you're a manager, be a manager and do a damn good job. And as that manager, remember, you're not there to take away from the wrestlers or overshadow them. You are there to add to and make them better. If you're a referee, you don't need ring music. Come to think of it, if you're an announcer, you don't need ring music because guess what? You're not the star of the freaking show. You're fill-in, your space so that there's not empty air. That's all you're there for. You are not there to have ring music and make a grand entrance like the stars who are the wrestlers. That's why wrestling is on the marquee. If you are a referee, you do not need ring music or an entrance because you, sir, are also not the star because it doesn't say refereeing on the marquee. If you are a wrestler and you let a referee or an announcer outshine you, take your ass back to the locker room, pack your shit, and get the hell out of my business because you have no place here. I am so absolutely disgusted with people who do not know their place in my business at this point. I'm also disgusted with these morons who think they know their place and actually have the balls to go on any public media, i.e. Twitter, their own freaking website, Facebook, MySpace, if anybody actually still breathes MySpace, because I hear some musician guy bought it, that Timberlake guy. Anyway, don't go over there and talk about how great you are, because guess what? If you were that really great and you were the best wrestler in the world, somebody would have put a belt on your ass a long time ago, instead of you walking around looking like you need a biscuit and need to be on the next top bottle with Tyra Banks. I am just so sick of people this week, and so help me God, the next person that I see at a show that doesn't know their place, I'm going to punch them in the throat. I am so sick of announcers trying to make themselves more important than the wrestlers. I am so sick of referees trying to make themselves more important than the whole locker room. There are very few managers, and Wicked, I give you a lot of credit for this, because you bust your ass to add to, not take away from what's going on. Guys, you don't need to run around the ring like a chicken with your head chopped off. You are not there to be the star of the show. Wrestling, professional wrestling, everybody that's listening, whether you're a wrestler or you're a fan, or you want to be a wrestler, or you want to be a manager, or heaven forbid you want to be a referee or an announcer, because they're needed too. They have their place. Some of them just don't know their place. If you want to be any of those things, make sure you do the best that you can do. But as a manager, you stay in your one place. You pick your moments to shine, but you make damn sure that you're not trying to outshine what's going on in the ring. Because if you do something to take away from what's going on in the ring, then guess what? You haven't done your job. You failed miserably, and you too, sir or ma'am, need to pack your shit and get out of the ring. Now, while I'm talking about knowing your place, if you're a rat, if you want to suck a dick, or if you're married to a rat and you're afraid she's going to suck a dick while you're at the ring, leave the bitch's ass at home. She does not belong in my locker room. Bring her in a locker room where I'm at, I'm going to kick her ass out. Put her outside the ring where I'm at, and I'm going to rip her fucking head off. I am so absolutely disgusted this week with people not knowing their place. Rats belong outside the locker room on their knees. Okay, I feel better now.
Now, to clarify, I don't know if there's much clarification needed, but what would you do? Let's say that you're someone that sees something that has gone wrong, and I know what you're going to say. You and I have had this conversation, but for those that do not know, if you see something wrong and it's obvious, Tasha, do you think that someone that has been in the business 3, 4, maybe 5 years at the most, should say something about something that they see wrong, something that is obvious, but maybe everybody else is too busy worried about their own thing, or et cetera, you know, whether it be security guards coming in the back, maybe it's referees, you know, trying to give away finishes. What do you think that guy or girl should do?
They need to find somebody in charge that has a clue, and they need to say something. Even the young guys have some place and some small voice. And if somebody comes to me and tells me, or better yet, if you're not comfortable doing that, find a vet that you trust, that you can lean on, and you say, hey, this is what's going on. What do we need to do to fix it? Because it's everybody's job to protect the business. It's our job first. We're the veterans. We're the colonels. We're the big chiefs. But every officer below a colonel still has a job to do. It's still their job to take care of what they do. So even the young guys have to be responsible for what's going on inside and outside the ring, inside and outside the locker room. Learn your etiquette, learn respect. If they've been taught respect, they're going to go find somebody. They're going to say, hey, we need to fix this now before it escalates and gets out of control.
Those are words to live by. Eddie, you got something you'd like to say about this?
I think she's dead on. Short and sweet to the point. I think she's dead on it.
Do you have something you'd like to add to that, to what she said?
Sure, I'll fire away. You know, I've had the honor and the privilege. Go ahead, Wick.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Kerry. Is this a radio show?
Yes, it is. We're live right now. Give us just a minute.
That is great. That is vintage Kerry awful. Kerry, hold on for just 1 second. Eddie, finish your thought before we introduce Kerry.
Okay. You know, I've had the honor and the privilege of being a part of this industry ever since 1985 when I had my first match, started training at 84. And you know something? With the company with which I work right now, you know what my entrance music is? The show open music when I welcome everybody to the show. I don't have anything specific that I like to play for me or that I want played for me. Even if the boss says, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to open the show and get this thing started, get the action in the ring. So
there you go.
Check the egos at the door. Remember, the marquee does say professional wrestling. We are all supposed to be a part of the same team. And granted, in the ring, some people shine brighter than others. Note match order, with a couple of minor exceptions. But the fact of the matter is, everybody has a responsibility to be part of the team and help make the overall product something that the people who are paying their hard-earned money to come see, which in turn will put money in our pockets, the best possible experience. Okay.
All right. And that silky smooth voice that you heard in the background a second ago screaming, "Is this a show?" is the one and only Kerry Awful. Kerry, how you doing tonight, sir?
Better now that I realize what time it was. I was training out with my tag partner Nikki, which you can see at Southern All Star Wrestling up in Millersville, Tennessee, every Friday night. I'm doing good. I'm out of breath, trying to get my head straight. I realized what time it was. God damn it! Oh, Jesus Christ! No. How's everyone doing on the show right now? Is my question. How's everything going?
Well, we're actually going to jump right into it with you, sir. Tell everyone how it all began. I understand you haven't been in the business that long, but the reason why we brought you on, Kerry, is to give a rookie's perspective. Tasha and myself, we always have a very slanted view on things. Eddie as well. But we want to know. We've had a lot of guests with 25, 30-year vets, 16-year vets, 10-year vets. We wanted to get a rookie perspective on things. How did it all begin for Kerry Awful?
For me, I grew up in the Middle Tennessee area, and so wrestling was something I always wanted to do. You know, I grew up watching, Burt Prentice shows, and I grew up watching old USWA from Memphis, and it wasn't just always like a childhood dream, but as a kid, I was always fat and sick. I had a ton of really, really shitty health complications, severe asthma, underdeveloped lungs, not being able to do sports. And for me, it's just one of those things I always wanted to do. And I sat there at home for years and years being fat, eating bad food, drinking beers, making excuses of why I couldn't do it and why I wouldn't do it. And then one day I saw that Dirty Dutch Mantell was opening a wrestling school in Lebanon. I had talked to Dutch as a teenager back when he was doing Music City Wrestling with Les Thatcher, watching it on NBC at like 1 or 2 in the morning on Sunday nights. Talked to him as a kid with his AOL screen name and stuff. And then as an adult at 25, I'm very old to be getting into wrestling. But I knew that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. I started training with Dutch Mantell outside of NWA Top Rope with Mike Searcy. Trained for a year and did learned a lot of productive things. Learned some things, but for me, I started wrestling without knowing everything that I should have known. I had my first match in November of last year. I think it was the 15th at Top Rope, which is the first time I got to meet Tasha Simone. And I'm sitting there with all these local wrestlers and people like I've seen on local shows and on the televised shows and everything else, and I'm feeling, out of place. I didn't feel like I belonged in that shit, like I'm just.
And he was so scared of me.
I was terrified of you, and still am to this day. Don't you forget it. So Dutch gets signed over to do the Ring to King stuff over in India, and I'm like, well, hey, what about wrestling? What am I to do? And he's like, well, when I come back. And I was like, well, when are you coming back? And I ended up talking to Mike, and I was like, look, I paid to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. And, you come in thinking that you know all this shit and that you're untouchable and everything you do is going to make sense and people are going to love you out the fucking gate. Brother, I was the drizzling, raining, sloppy, soapy green apple turds. I fucking didn't know the right side to work. I'm sitting there trying to call the shit out like a ballet and then going out there and forgetting it the first 30 seconds that I'm there. It's fucking horrible not getting addressed by name by the people in the back because they're, talking in carny and shit, calling you a mark, and you know enough to know that you're being called a mark. And so I was just like, fuck, I can't stop. I don't want to stop. And I just every week went in there and had different people start telling me stuff, and You go in there and you're this guy who wants something so bad, and you don't know how to get it, so you're just so desperate for advice that you'll listen to anyone and everyone, and thinking all of them are looking out for your best interest, and thinking all of them are giving you golden advice. To this day, there's a very select few people that I credit with actually giving enough of a shit about me to help me. You know, whether it was having to knock the living shit out of me in the ring to slow me down, whether it was telling me, you know, yeah, you're fat, take your fucking shirt off, you don't wear a goddamn shirt when you fucking wrestle. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. But then you have these other people here telling you, come on over here, the grass is greener, we'll do all this. And really all they want to do is bury the living shit out of you and use you to make themselves look better and give you 14 fucking finishers, devalue you, devalue themselves, make their own shit look weak, make everything look weak. And eventually I was told by a wise woman, who may be on the phone but will remain nameless, to shut my mouth and keep my ears open and to stop talking so fucking much. And that was probably the greatest lesson I could have ever learned, and to selectively listen to people. So weeks go by and months go by, and I'm starting to realize the people who might be giving me the business, telling me, hey kid, this is how it is, this is how it needs to be, don't believe any of this other bullshit, you know. And then I come up and at top rope, a lot of the people who were there when I started weren't there except for the core group of people, which is Simply Perfection, Eric Andrews, Derek Neal, and Tasha Simone. And so I started taking outside bookings at other NWA places ran by people that I wouldn't piss on if they were on fire, and watching them do unethical things, do bad things to people I consider my friends, not paying the boys, you know, patting their pockets, and you see all this dark, shitty part of wrestling that you don't know about as a fan. And I start talking to Eric and Tasha, and I'm like, what can I do better? Why does this suck? How can I make myself look better? What do I need to eat? How do I need to lose weight? Why my arm drag's not crisp? How can I remember to not fuck up and go to the wrong side? Hell, what do I do when I do fuck up? And so a couple weeks and a couple months go by, and they're slowly but surely warming up to me and being more vocal with me and giving me those little life lessons that you don't read in any of those fucking books or internet or Wikipedias or whatever. And then ultimately I come up to Tasha, because I see so many of Tasha's matches, and they're what I want to be: technical wrestling, putting the wrestling back in professional wrestling, seeing what she does for Eric and Derek. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done being this, you know, Mark pretending to be a wrestler. God damn it, I want to be a wrestler like those guys. And if I'm going to be a wrestler like those guys, I need to learn from those guys. And so I come up and I ask Tasha, I was like, look, Tasha, one day, because I'd owed debts to other people from past trainings and stuff like that, I was like, I want to pay you to teach me to be a real wrestler, to carry myself like you do, to talk like you do business like you do, protect myself, you know, be what wrestling should be by the old school mentality. And Tasha goes, well, we'll see. And one day I had my stuff cleared, and we talked to the promoter we were with at the time about doing it there, and that's how Throw Up Thursdays were born, and I lost about another 30 pounds, and overnight it was like I was this real character-driven Mr. OOO, Kerry Awful, comedic chicken shit, to holy shit, people are twittering me saying, God damn it, Tasha, stop teaching Kerry how to stretch motherfuckers like a band. Kerry's nuggets as all hell. Tasha, I know you've been training them. And I went from just being a guy who was getting help from some good people and bad people to being a guy who's like, you know what, I'm going to be a wrestler, and by God, this is how I'm going to do it. And I take everything that's taught to me like a sponge, and there are times where I need to calm down, that I've been told to calm down, and everything else, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. A little long-winded, sorry, y'all. I like to talk. Tasha's got to commit to the head.
Who was your biggest influence as a kid wanting to get into the business? And when you got into the business, who did you try to model yourself after?
This is the mark in me, and it's funny because it was Dutch. Dutch was the first, I mean, I guess now, you know, as an adult you realize it's a tweener, but the first bad guy you kind of sympathized for, because it wasn't that he was bad or that he was good, it was that he wanted the gold. He didn't want any of the bullshit friendships or this, that, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. He was a badass, and I'd watch him on, USWA, and then, once the internet gets up, you're all into that, and of course I'm going to take guys like Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho and stuff like that, because for my generation, just the technical wrestlers of WCW doing all the crazy techniques and the holds, and even William Regal when I was real young, and he had Bill Dundee doing the Sir Robert or whatever gimmick for him, and Bobby Eaton doing a gimmick with him, and the guys who, when they wrestled, it wasn't about a character with a funny haircut. It was guys who went in there and they just beat the living shit out of someone and made them submit, Guys that when you saw them suplex someone, you get a tingle down your spine. When they hit a knife edge chop, it took the breath out of your lungs. As far as modeling myself, I model myself after Dutch. A lot of people call me Baby Dutch wherever I go, even out of state, because I have a handlebar mustache and back hair that I try to trim down. And that was like my early thing. I wanted to do like a new version of that, but even to that also, it's like I always wanted to be one of those, not pro shoot guys or however you want to announce it. That the guy goes in there and he kicks hard, he hits hard. Guys like a Benoit, and as much of a faux pas as that is to say that. I had this idea in my head that I was going to go in there and be like the next Malenko or the next Benoit or the next Chris Adams, And when I realized that my fat ass wasn't going to do it, I toned it down and was really a lot like Dutch, just brawl, 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 brawl. I guess that's kind of it in a nutshell, Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, as of now, it's like my biggest influences are guys that, people don't hear a lot of, and you hear a lot of the boys say it. Tasha turned me on to watching Johnny Saint. I always hear guys like Cole Cabana, Johnny Saint, Daniel Bryan, the Claudios, the Chris Heroes, all that, Johnny Saint this, and I'm like, that's cool, I'm not going to watch that. Tasha's like, fucking watch Johnny Saint, dumbass. So what did I do? I got on YouTube and watched Finley and Johnny Saint, and I started getting hooked on British wrestling in general, and so you're seeing, Haystack Calhoun and Rollerball Rocco and stuff like that, and young William Regal, and you're just like, fuck, this is brilliant. This is just like nothing you're exposed to in the entertainment, saturated American market.
Take us back, if you will, to your first match, when you first got in the ring. What was going through your mind?
Oh, man. Honestly, I was like, fuck, this is going to be so good, because I practiced it 8,000 times.
Who was your first opponent?
A guy named Josh Farley, who gimmicks as the name Merrick McLaughlin, who I'm going to say right now is a giant piece of shit. He works for Pride Pro Wrestling. He's a giant fat mark who couldn't finish training with Dutch, decided he was going to go pretend to be a wrestler despite the fact that he's 300 pounds, tried out for the Biggest Loser and got denied, so that ultimately makes him the biggest loser in life. He just fired me from a promotion because I told him that they had shitty fucking workers, a shitty fucking booker, and that they were trying to be something in a shitty place. And they were doing it with bad business and surrounding themselves with yes men and smarts who think they know the fucking business and didn't take a goddamn bump in their life. How's that for some sweet talk?
I'm so proud.
I know, yes.
Right?
Yes. So what you're saying is you actually stood up for yourself in this business.
Absolutely.
Not many people did that.
I didn't stick up to myself until Tasha told me that no one else was going to do it for you.
Those are words to live by.
Absolutely. I'm telling Tasha she needs to write a pro wrestling Bible one of these days. Hell, I'll go door to door like it's fucking, what is it? Not a Mormon.
Door to door salesman.
No, the Bible pusher. You're like, hey, have you accepted Jesus Christ? Except I'd go, hey, have you accepted the Queen of the Paw Driver? There you go.
Wait, and here's an even better question for Kerry. Kerry, give them a vision of Slow Up Thursdays. Give them the first Slow Up Thursday vision.
I would say it's a mixture of nails on a chalkboard, boot camp, and a cheese grater to your nutsack. But it's made me a better person and a lot skinnier and in better shape. Working out and doing drills and learning so much out of something that you don't realize till 10 hours later when you wake up the next day being like, that's why we fucking did this. Awesome. Vomiting until clear stuff comes out of your stomach. Sweating until you think you're going to pass out. Being stretched and taught how to protect yourself and how to both protect yourself if someone's coming after you and protect yourself in the ring so someone doesn't make you look like shit. Learning cross arm breakers the way they're supposed to be. Learning the difference between a front face lock and just a headlock and calling them the wrong shit back and forth. Learning wrestling moves that you see in tapes forgotten on YouTube that are so awesome that when you use them in a place like Nashville where it's this Memphis heavy style thing, people pop for it because they're just like, fuck, he really just pulled him by the head, made that motherfucker flip over, because if he didn't, he would have snapped his neck. It's game changing for me, and honestly the best part of my week. You know, it's like it's not like going to the gym where, well, it is. It's going to the gym because you're losing weight and you know you're doing something better. But it's doing something that, it's like holding your hand over a fire. You know that it hurts, but you keep wanting to do it. You get addicted to it. I couldn't imagine not doing it now and not doing the drills until I can't stand up, or I'm so dizzy I have to grab the bottom rope just to get to my feet, just to fall over, to roll out of the ring, to vomit profusely for 3 minutes, you know. It's the good stuff.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are delving headfirst, if you will, into the mind, the spirit of the wrestling greenhorn. We're about to take our first break of the evening. When we come back, we will ask Kerry Awful even more crazy and awkward questions. If you have a question for Kerry Awful, the number is 205-316-9900, or you can Skype us at Beyond Ringside. All one word. Do not change that URL. When we come back, the To Be Determined show right here with our guest tonight, Kerry Awful of Tennessee Infamy fame.
Hi, I'm Joe Perry.
And Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, here for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. Yeah, you know we love it when the music does the talking.
And you know, the music stops when someone gets killed.
So never let someone you know get behind the wheel if they've been drinking. So keep it real. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Nurse, set up an IV. And you, her boyfriend, you were the driver?
Yes, doctor, but I didn't mean to hurt her. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Just buzzed? Oh, then your girlfriend is fine.
Hey, sweetie. I feel great.
She's really okay?
What, are you kidding? No, not really. Nurse, get me a suture kit. Stack.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
In 1977, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. The odds of that same boy winning the U.S. Open twice, 1 in 1.2 billion. The odds of him having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 110. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Ozzy Osbourne. For many years, you know I've had a drink problem, and I'm trying to battle that problem every single day. But one thing I don't drive my car when I'm drinking. I get someone to drive me. Do not drink and drive. It's the stupidest thing. If you drink, just don't drive. Not only are you going to hurt yourself, you may hurt some other person, and you wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you?
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
This is Alice Cooper for RADD. There's a lot of things we have no control of in this world, but that's not the case with drunk driving. If you're going to drink, don't drive. Think ahead and choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives on, and so should you.
Yes, we all got a long way to go. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Citizens of America, this is a message from feedthepig.org. Americans spent more money than they earned in 2005. This is the first negative savings rate in the U.S. since the Great Depression. America, we must start feeding the pig. On the 1st and the 15th, we must pay ourselves before we pay anyone or anything. We must make a budget. Even consider cutting up a credit card. Log on to feedthepig.org today. Find the benefits of saving for every stage of life. Brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
As a mother, I'm making it a point to get the H1N1 flu vaccine for my children. You see, children are especially vulnerable to serious complications from the H1N1 flu, which could lead to hospitalization and even death. That's why I'm urging parents to get their children vaccinated. Vaccination is safe and is the most effective way to prevent the flu. Get the facts at flu.gov. Together, we can all fight the flu.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Drew Brees, NFL quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, here with Bugs Bunny to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you fuel your body and your mind.
So what do you like to throw around the football like Drew?
Skateboard, ride a bike, or dance in your room.
Just move it your way.
And be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Nancy O'Dell here for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, then it becomes everybody's business. So please plan ahead, call a cab or designate a driver before the party starts. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
Baby, you can drive my car.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the To Be Determined show right here on TNT-Radio.net. I am the Orc of Amos, the architect of intellect, being joined by Fast Eddie Lane and Tasha Simone. Now, our guest tonight is Kerry Awful. Kerry, we've been asking you a few questions, you know, a little strict, but I've heard that you have been training on the side with not only the former NWA Women's World Champion, but someone else, a friend of the show, sir. If you will, tell us about that.
I'm actually outside of his building right now. Is none other than Wolfie D of wrestling fame, someone I grew up watching, I heavily respect, and I'm learning a lot of different aspects of wrestling from him right now. I'm actually with my good brother, Nick Iggy, one of the many good brothers that I hold close to me, and I asked Tasha before I came down here, out of respect for Tasha and everything that she's done to me, we were going to have an off week from Throw Up Thursday, and I know that she knows I'll learn something from Wolfie, and Wolfie will teach me and do me right, and I'll learn a different aspect of wrestling than necessarily what Tasha would teach me itself. So I'm exposing myself to multiple trainers, but picking different things out that I can take to make myself a better Kerry Awful. And I'm not doing that as finding every Joe or schmo or random guy that says, hey, I've done this. I'm finding people who are accredited wrestlers, people who have been places, done stuff, that have pieces of work that people can look at and be like, God damn, that was a fucking wrestling match, or that was something I remember.
Hold on, really quick. To recap, now somewhere right now in Afghanistan, Danny Only, the human hand grenade, has a tear in his fucking eye, okay? You're getting better in the ring. Is that what you're saying? You're taking the initiative to get better by different Jedi Masters. Is that what you're saying, young Padawan?
Absolutely, sir.
Holy shit.
You have your main, you always have the one person, and for me it was Tasha, but I always came into wrestling not wanting to be the guy who got trained by someone and got his money taken. I wanted to have a pedigree on my resume, and to me, with Dutch Mantell and Tasha Simone, and now that Wolfie's helping me when he can, I feel that I'm building myself up for success. I'm preparing myself. You wouldn't go to, let's say you're a police officer and you go out on your first night of the job and you don't have your gun, you don't have your handcuffs, but you have your badge, what's going to happen when you pull up on a motherfucker and try to arrest him and you don't have any of the tools to do so? You're fucked. I never want to be fucked in wrestling. I want to be the guy who's prepared for the worst case scenario at all chances. I want to be the guy that when I go into the locker room, they're going to look around and be like, holy shit, did you know who we trained with? That guy, he loves wrestling, and I do. In my life, it's the only thing I've ever cared about, to be honest with you. And I didn't know how to love wrestling the way I should until I met people like Tasha. And even a man named Mike Promo, who may not ring a lot of bells with a lot of people, but is someone that I admire greatly. He's someone that I can talk to about wrestling like I could talk to Tasha and almost cry at times to see the beauty in it. Wrestling, people compare it to ballet and to art and to theater. Wrestling's more than that. It's supposed to be a cathartic experience, a purging of emotions of people. When I hurt, I want other people to hurt and relate. I want them to empathize. But I want to stir up genuine emotions of sorrow and disdain and hate and anger. I don't want to be a guy who goes in there and rattles off big move after big move, spot monkeys, whatever cliche smarts come up with. I want someone to see me and not even, know that I'm a wrestler first and foremost, but just see me and they're like, that motherfucker's crazy and he believes everything that he says at every moment. And if anyone ever tries to question that, he'll answer them differently. I want to protect wrestling.
I actually have a Facebook question for you really quick, Kerry.
Yes, sir.
Someone wants to know, who is your favorite wrestler on TV? I don't know if that means national or if that means local. I'm not sure. We'll say both if you want to. Who's your favorite person on TV?
My favorite wrestler, of course, with my image, I used to be a punk kid, a hardcore kid for that fact, and even straight edge at one point in my life till I turned 21 and discovered the joys of beer and its whiskey and all its wonders. Of course, I'd want to say a guy like CM Punk, but that's too easy. If we're going to be honest about TV, William Regal was on TV 2 weeks ago in a squash match, and God, I popped my balls off. Honestly, pound for pound, I'd say Daniel Bryan, and not because of the reasons of, he was a Ring of Honor guy, or he was this or that. It's a guy that loves wrestling, pure wrestling, and has found a way to put his character into it and make it larger than life. I called Tasha, or I didn't call her, I Facebooked her, because he did a Johnny Saint spot where he rolls up into a ball and the guy he's wrestling is like, whoa, what do I do? Do I kick him? He's not moving. It's like a turtle shell, and he holds out the hand and just waves for a second, and then the guy grabs it and he just small packages him out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. For a guy to do a Johnny Saint spot on WWE Wednesday, not main event or whatever the Saturday show is, and to put that out and to pop me, that's phenomenal. Who's going to do that? I'd rather, the spot itself is questionable because it's so, Johnny Saint had almost an effeminate style of wrestling, but it was so smart. Wasn't the biggest guy, he was just counterintuitive of everything. I like stuff like that. William Regal, as far as TNA goes, I don't get to watch a lot. I do really enjoy, Robert Roode, because I think that he is a throwback to what wrestling was, and just looks like every horseman ever made a baby of DNA and put it inside Bobby Roode's mom. Right. As far as local people go, of course I'm going to put over Tasha, Derek, and Eric. I'm going to put over my Good Brothers, which will be on TV soon from what was announced for Saw Millersville. Of course, the Good Brothers, Sheik Luke Al-Kazan, he was a member of Throw Up Thursday. The one-man workhorse, Dyron Flynn, a member of Throw Up Thursday. Nick Iggy and Christopher Norte, both of my tag team partners. Iggy and Millersville, where we're currently feuding with Simply Perfection over the United States Tag Team Championship, because we're trying to bring tag team wrestling back to where it should be. And Christopher Norte for Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling, Carmi, Illinois, where you can see such awesome people as Psycho, one half of the Asylum. Again, me, Dyron Norte, Madman Pondo, and Jason Nesmith, who we're feuding with. It's Nesmith and Dyron against the Filth and the Fabulous for their tag team titles. That's good enough, even though it wasn't just TV, it was a little bit of everything, but now everybody knows.
I have another question. Oh, for real? Oh my God! I'm sorry. This is a stupid question, but I will ask it. What is your favorite color? Come on, people. Come on, more depth to these questions.
I wear a lot of red and black, so we'll go with red and black.
Red and black. You hear that, Eddie? Eddie, come on and ask a question. I can't believe somebody asked what your favorite color was. That's crazy.
No question is off limits. Everyone who's listening, thank you so much for tuning into this TV show, this radio show, the To Be Determined. It's all the drugs. It's all the drugs I did as a kid. Just kidding, everybody. All I do is drink water and vomit now, thanks to Throw Up Thursdays.
There you go.
Don't be scared to ask me questions. My life's an open book, and I want you all to read, so go on.
Yeah, but we want questions of substance, Kerry. We don't want people asking what the fuck your favorite color is. No offense to who asked the question, but still. They know who asked it. Eddie, come on.
If I could.
I have a question.
Fire away.
Kerry, who are you more afraid of, me or Wolfie?
Rocking a hard spot, Tasha. We both know the answer to this, and it's going to be you, because if I said Wolfie, tomorrow I fear you worse than God on Armageddon.
You may have a guest trainer tomorrow.
I'm excited. I've been anxious about it. All the boys have been talking about it. I've canceled plans with the girl I'm seeing, as much as I hate to do it, because I know, Throw Up Thursday calls, I'm there with my garbage can and my stomach to offer.
Eddie,
yes.
Come on, man.
Okay, no workout tomorrow.
What?
Okay, as time has gone by, I'm sure you've had a chance to hear various comments made by different people. But without it being made to your face, what has been A, the most positive comment you've heard from anybody in the locker room, and B, the most disparaging comment you've ever heard from anybody in the locker room?
It's much easier to go with discouraging, because you're going to find more people willing to talk about you behind your back, people who'll act like you're their friend when it benefits them, people who will say things in closed circles expecting it not to get back to you. And for me, it was, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, what a green piece of shit. He'll never draw. He's horrible. God, he needs to get out. He's miserable. Blah, blah, blah. And at first I was really angry about it, because who wants to be talked bad about when you're trying your damnedest? And honestly, when I was told by a very trusting, someone I trust more than anyone else in all of professional wrestling about it, and I felt very rejected, because he wants to be the odd man out. And the person told me, Kerry, use this as motivation, because what you're doing is you're making yourself better, and people are having to notice that. Use this as gasoline to train harder, make yourself better, and go farther than they ever will. And that's honestly what I do now. And could I have said, fuck this guy, everyone can go say, fuck him? No, because if I do that, I give his words meaning. If I look at him and say, that's your opinion, and I'm going to like you regardless of that, because that's who I am. I'm a positive person. I believe that backstabbing, lying, going out of your way to be a jerk to someone, that's a coward's way out. I'm going to be the exception that I've been taught to be. I'm going to keep myself to a higher standard and a higher class. Say what you want, I'll prove you wrong, and I'll do it on my deathbed if I have to. If I break both of my knees, if I end up, throwing out a shoulder, if I end up, who knows, I might have to wrestle with a catheter one day, but I'll prove to myself at the end of this awesome journey of professional wrestling and look back at it that I did what I wanted to do. I never gave up. I never gave all these words of discouragement power against me, and I ascended above it, because I love wrestling for what it should be, not what it will give to me, because wrestling won't give you anything. You have to give to it for it to work.
Now, Wicked, if I may, I've got one more thing I want to ask.
No!
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm just the producer tonight. When I first inquired to Ken Lucas, the Oklahoma Bulldog, years ago, about getting into professional wrestling, and he said 3 things to me right off the bat. Number 1, no matter what happens, be patient with yourself. Number 2, if you're not sure, ask. Number 3, take your time and learn it right. That way you protect yourself and the other person in the ring. if right now you're approached by somebody in the audience who has the dream of being a professional wrestler, what would be the first three things that you would tell them?
Three things are limiting so much. I want to spew out right now. I want to go on a tangent on the soapbox. Don't order gear off the internet. Watch a bunch of wrestling that you think is cool and hip, and just show up and say, you know what, brother, I'm a wrestler. Because you're going to get exterminated probably by my buddy Dyron Slim, the Yard Dart Exterminator. Go to someone who knows wrestling. It doesn't just know wrestling, they love wrestling. They love wrestling for what it should be. They appreciate wrestling for what it should be. They've been to places, other cities, other states, other towns, other continents, and learn from them. Learn from someone that is going to teach you the right way of getting into wrestling. Someone who won't take your money and blow smoke up your ass about false hope. Because something even I've noticed at shows I've worked in Tennessee, even at places that I'm not even going to put over by saying it, you have all these guys who are out of shape and want to pretend that they're wrestlers, and I was the biggest sinner of all of this. I was fat, I didn't want to do it, but I bought tights, and I had gone to one or two places, and I knew everything. And really, even the fans know they might like you, but they're going to see you as someone who doesn't really love it. If you love wrestling, you have to work out, you have to listen, you have to know who and what is good advice, you know? That's it for one. Two, don't let anyone bully you. And I'm not saying you have to go into a locker room and knock a motherfucker out. You need to earn respect the right way. Tell a veteran what you're going to do in your match with them, because I guarantee you'll get your teeth knocked out. Don't try to be bigger than your britches, because you will be humbled and no one will feel bad for you. And lastly, for me, don't ever get an ego. Stay humble, because everything that is ever given to you will and can be taken away. Don't go in there and thinking you're the shit because you can do 13 go-to-sleeps and, 15,000 variants of the DDT when you can't even do a fucking lock-up right. When you think that 14 chair shots is amazing only to get sunset flipped is psychology. That's one hard adjustment, and you see it everywhere in Tennessee. People who want to throw a pile driver in an opening sequence of a match, and that was a conversation I had with Tasha one time. Tasha being the queen of the pile driver, I was like in my third or fourth match opening the show. I asked her, hey, I was just doing a tombstone pile driver on a friend of mine named Johnny Pavement. He no longer wrestles because of back problems, unfortunately. And I said, hey, I thought about doing this to go into the heat. And she gave me the stare of the devil. I mean, Cyclops couldn't have looked at me harder than that. And she said, kid, first off, fuck you. I think you actually said fuck you. Two, thank you for asking. Don't do a pile driver ever, ever, ever in an opening sequence, or I will go to the ring and stop it. That's a little anecdote, Josh. I don't know if you remember that, but one of the sweet gems of my first month at Top Rope. And just, I don't know, stay humble. Don't be loud. Don't be arrogant. Be polite. Be courteous. Choose who you listen to. Listen to other people, but take what they say with a grain of salt if you know that it doesn't work or it's going to be detrimental to you. And say, oh, as much as you want, because eventually it's going to get over.
That's so fucking stupid.
Hey, Wick.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, I was watching an interview with Chris Jericho recently, and Jericho, up until a certain point in time, kept a diary of all of his matches. Do you do that yourself, Kerry, or is that something you've ever thought about doing?
People have told me, and my dad's real big on it, he wants me to keep a scrapbook and write down all my matches and, who I fought. And for me, I was getting a lot of people videotaping all my stuff, like the old Diamond Dallas Page gimmick, videotape everything. Do I have special things and special moments in my life from wrestling? yes, nothing I've done very strictly. Not like, oh, I just wrestled here, I need to pin this down. I don't have an atlas with thumbtacks. You know, I just have the videos that I put on YouTube and Facebook. And even now, like, I'll do it when it's, I never sleep. I work a job all day long, and when I'm not working a job, I'm wrestling or I'm training and doing the big circle all over again. So when I'm studying for wrestling, when I'm watching, you know, Chris Adams versus, you know, Kerry Von Erich, I watched that with Chris Norte the other day and studying it. It's always at awkward times and awkward hours. But every now and then, as vain as it is, I look at my YouTube channel and I watch the story from the first little promo I've uploaded to all the way to the stuff, and I have to get on Facebook and hunt and peck and look for different stuff. But I look at it like, that's a very awful story. As if, you know, because people have different things at different places, but I can look at it like a timeline. That was me when I had the long pants and you know, the shaved head, because I lost that hair versus hair match, and I can watch the 2 or 3 promos after that where my hair comes in and all of a sudden I'm wearing different tights, and I remember the emotions and the nervousness or kind of thoughts that were going through my head. That's about all I do for that. I encourage people to do it, you know, because at the end of your wrestling career, all you're going to have is your memories. Most likely, none of us are going to have mansions, but what I will have, you know, even if it's not in the journal, is this beautiful story of Kerry Awful, fat 25-year-old kid who couldn't figure out his left from his right side inside of a ring, to Kerry Awful, who all of a sudden started putting on weird submissions, and something bad happened where someone got lost and he was right on him, giving him a stiff forearm to the neck saying, slow down, let's do this, you know. That's what I want, you know. And will I ever write a book? Probably not, you know. I don't think I'd ever have anything good to write in it. But I do think I could write a little pamphlet on Throw Up Thursdays at Tasha Simone's Wrestling Hell Boot Camp of why it will make you not only a better wrestler, but a better human being.
Now before we let you go, a man that's near and dear to my heart, Jeremiah Flint, the Killer Bee, the one-man Killer Bee, actually had some very kind words for you. He said that he's looking forward to working against you and with you this upcoming year. Jeremiah Flint is a great veteran in this business, but I will say this: you and I have worked 2 or 3 times together. The first time I saw you, you did one of the worst drop kicks I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, and I told you, don't ever throw another drop kick because you can't fucking throw it. I was honest with Kerry.
Right.
Kerry's worked with me enough. I'm brutally honest. The last time I worked with Kerry, when Pandora wrestled Tasha for the NWA Women's World Champion, and then when the Unlucky Charms wrestled Simply Perfection, you had a match with Vic the Bruiser. You hit Vic the Bruiser with one of the nastiest backhands I've ever seen, and dropped the big man. Vic the Bruiser's a big guy, like a smaller version of Rikishi, smaller version of Rikishi, and also a veteran in this business. I told Kerry right there, I said, Kerry, that is a knockout move. That is a move you can do on anybody. Don't ever do it again unless you're able to use it for the end of a match. But I also told you to work smarter, not harder. Yeah. And from what I've heard, you have completely taken the great knowledge that has been given to you, the advice, and used it. So kudos to you, sir, because you have also been nominated for an award, sir. Tell the great fans of yourself and this show what you're nominated for, and how can they vote for this, sir, and how can everyone get in touch with you?
I wish I had the internet address on me, because I'm on my phone right now where I have it. The easiest way for everyone is the Wrestling News Center, done by people that I admire, that I've had the joy of meeting several times. There's several categories. I've been nominated for Most Improved Wrestler, which floored me. Like, it's like you hear people telling you you're getting better and that they're seeing an improvement, but the self-conscious guy in me is always like, no, I'm not. And to be nominated for something like that is such a joy and a pleasure, and just, it makes you sit down for a second, you know, and you know, I want to thank being nominated. I want to thank everyone for being nominated for it, but there's also some important other people that were nominated also. Simply Perfection is on there for the, you know, Best Tag Team of the Year, and Tasha Simone for Best Women's Wrestler of the Year. the easiest way to get there, because I don't have the internet address on my phone right now because I'm talking on it, go to my Facebook page, /Kerry Awful. Feel free to add me on Facebook, send me questions, pictures, any kind of good stuff, but look for the links. And not only that, go to the link and vote for all of us, or vote for who you want, because that's the wonderful thing about wrestling is it's interactive. We need you, the people who are listening to this, us, saying nothing. It's TV with no one to hold the remote, you know? Go to my page. It should be the top post. Click on it 1,000 times for everyone I mentioned, or for who you want to mention. You really should vote for the people who I mentioned. If not, I'm probably going to find you, start chaining O at McDonald's or Walmart, or even the law office that you might work at, and slap on a guillotine joke until you vote for who I tell you to vote for. Also, I wanted to say one quick thing before I get off here. I want to talk about the people who I consider my family in wrestling, first and foremost above all else. I want to talk about Simply Perfection and Tasha Simone for giving me the chance to become a better person, to become a better wrestler. Because they're the people who didn't have to say anything to me, but took the time to do it. I want to say thank you to Michael Jablonski, someone who I was terrified of when I first met him, and showed me how to, you know, actually be able to work the styles of wrestling that I like that is very different from Tennessee, and a lot of people would call it strong style. I want to thank my good brothers, Magic Man, Nick Iggy, One Man Workhorse, Darren Flynn, Eccentric, Chris Norte, and Sheik Saluk Abdon. Those people are my best friends in all of wrestling, and probably some of my best friends I've ever had in my life. Take the time to get on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, any form of social media, and do yourself a favor and look up all of them, because this is the kind of wrestlers that want to make wrestling what it should be. People who are passionate about it, people who watch it on any means they can, whether it's their cell phone, watching YouTube clips in part 1 and part 2 at 3 in the morning. We can make wrestling better. We don't settle for being the lowest common denominator. We don't take shortcuts, and we do it the right way. And I want to thank you, Nemesis, for having me on the show and giving me a chance to tell my story and everything else. Joey, thank you. I just thank you all, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. People in Illinois can see me at Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling December 12th. Me and Chris Norton are taking on none other than the Goods for the tag team titles, and everyone in Tennessee. Iggy Team IOUI for Iggy O for Kerry Awful, and you, the fans and third member, take on Simply Perfection in what will probably be a knockout, drag-out fight. And if you don't even see it this week, because I believe Eric's booked somewhere else, get ready to come back, because when he does come back, we're going to show them why me and Iggy are becoming better. And lastly, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, FWA. Kerry Awful's making his day. Do yourself a favor, Saturday, live called No Hype Needed. I'm done.
Ladies and gentlemen,
off my soapbox.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kerry Awful. Thank you, Kerry, for coming on. Do not change that URL. When we come back, it is time, everyone, to feel the rage. The Smarks Rage, right here on TNT-Radio.net's own The To Be Determined show.
Let me try.
Okay, just remember what I showed you.
Yep, there was a bunny who had one big ear and another big ear. They looped-a-looped, made a bow, and the bunny hopped away. I did it!
Oh, good job, kiddo. Now let's tie your other shoe.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation, and we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck for Dave 2037 so he can buy anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman. What are you getting Steve 2037?
Steve 2037 will be just fine.
Well, okay, but don't expect to borrow my anti-gravity boots.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million bucks. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Chris, you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
There's your comic book collection, the race car bed.
I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I'm taking control over my financial life, and that feels pretty grown-up to me.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million bucks. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Are those footy pajamas?
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
I don't believe it. My savings are gone.
Okay, think. Where'd you have them last?
I was home, then I spent them on that vacation in this tiny suit of armor. Now they're gone.
Weird.
Weird? Not really. Not saving now means no money later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million bucks. For free ideas on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Oh, I broke his little gauntlet.
Oh no.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million bucks. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face to face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting, so why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstopwrecks.org.
Hey, what's up? Holla at ya, boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park, getting frisky in the dark. I gave your eye a poke. Think the dog is in the bed too. I smell smoke, you and me. We never, ever, ever give up.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear sighting, as in Smokey Bear.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste. He told me to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
You know, 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
I know that now.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the To Be Determined show right here on TNT-Radio.net. Thank you once again to Tennessee's own Kerry Awful for that great, very heartfelt interview. Stood up on his soapbox as he's able to, as everyone should be able to. And that brings us to the big announcement. Yes, I told everyone that there was going to be a big announcement. This is the announcement, everyone. We have proclaimed ourselves to be a fan-oriented wrestling radio show. We're not a podcast because we are broadcast live.
Thank you.
So with that being said, every week we have a lot of loyal, and we have some very smart, not smart marks, but some very smart fans. So from here on out, every week we're going to do a drawing. We are going to pick one listener a week to be a special co-host on the To Be Determined show. This is your opportunity to tell the world what you feel and your thoughts and give your slanted views on wrestling as a whole. All you have to do is be a listener of the To Be Determined show. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, child. If you're a fan, you are welcome to enter this. It's very simple. You can contact us at fasteddylane@gmail.com or enoch@thewickednemesis.com, or you can email the studio at TNT-Radio.net to let us know if you want to be a part of this. Just remember to be prepared, and above all else, go out and have a little bit of fun. With all that being said, the Mayans, I believe, predicted this. It's been foretold. I think Indiana Jones actually tried to stop this from happening. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Smark Rage, and his segment, The Smark's Rage. Corey, what are you raging about this week?
I'm raging about everything. I'm going to find a picture from 10 years ago of you and make a big deal on the internet. You know, Twitter is all about wrestling and wrestling fans, and I've met a whole hell of a lot of fans. You get to interact with your favorite wrestling fans, whether it's indie wrestling fans, people in WWE, New Japan, TNA, former NWA Women's Champion like Tasha Simone, announcers like Fast Eddie Lane, people like yourself, wrestling managers, the Oracle of Omniscience, the Wicked Nemesis. So, Dave Tuff, formerly known as Tyler Rex, went on a Twitter rant the other day, exposing the inner workings of the WWE locker room, saying how John Cena.
Hold on, Smart Rage. Hold on, Corey. Tyler Rex, is this the guy that had the fucked up braids?
The Rob Zombie haircut.
The dreadlocks, yes. Dreadlocks.
Yeah, the shitlocks. The shitlocks, yeah, okay, good. I'm sorry.
He is no longer with WWE, took his ball and went home because he wanted to spend time with his family. You know,
Heidenreich.
Heidenreich, right. You know, wrestling fans want to know the inner workings of pro wrestling. Why? Because they want to feel like they're part of wrestling. So here is a guy who pulls the curtain back. Now, let me stop. Wrestling's been pulled back. The curtain's been pulled back since Vince McMahon exposed it 15 years ago. Sometimes it gets even more exposed. He pulls the curtain back even more and pretty much calls out John Cena and calls him a piece of shit. I'm not in the locker room. You're not in the locker room. I don't know the John Cena in the locker room. All I know is I see you, the guy that falls on concrete, gets up in 2 minutes and is okay. Well, the thing is, if you want to know the inner workings of wrestling, and you're on Twitter, and here's a guy that's exposing it, and then he exposes it on the biggest wrestler or this biggest sports entertainer in the world, which is John Cena. Don't piss and moan when he exposes the business. You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't have the magician does the magic trick and then say, oh man, I didn't want to know how that was done. You can't want to know the inner workings of the wrestling business, then find out, then piss him about it.
So what you're saying is, you're comparing wrestling to David Blaine when really it should be Svengali. And I know like 2 people get that reference, but you need to go in and check on it, and you'll get that reference. You know how I feel about this, Corey. You are one of the people that have been fingered, and one of the guys that people have said,
hey, listen, nobody's fingered me, okay? Nobody's fingered me. I don't swing
that way. You know what I'm talking about. You have been yelled at, you have been cussed at for being backstage, and you were just standing there, not even exposing the business. Should you have been backstage? No, but they let you backstage, so you stayed backstage and you didn't get in the way, first of all. Second of all, I don't believe that the business was pulled back 15 years ago. the whole business, the whole exposure of the business started, now this is just my opinion, when the Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan got caught with a bunch of cocaine riding together years and years and years and years ago. Because up until then, you know, Babyfaces and Heels rode different cars together, as it should be. Now, also with the steroid abuse that happened with the lawsuit and everything that happened with the federal government event against Vince, when he openly said that they were sports entertainment, that peeled it back a little bit more. You can also blame ECW, which we all love ECW. Everybody sucks ECW's dick all the time. Everybody thinks it's the greatest wrestling of all time, which it's not. I think ECW did more harm to the business than it did help. Yes, it opened the arena, if you will, for technical wrestling. Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, He Who We Do Not Speak Of, all of these guys, Juventud Guerrera, they all got their American start for the most part. Now, I know we all know they did, you know, shows here and there, but for the most part, with the exception of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, their main exposure was at ECW before signing with WCW. Did WCW take that light heavyweight style and use it? Yes, they did. But that's exactly where the beginning of the fall of wrestling went. With all that being said, Corey, your thoughts, sir? I mean, you've kind of opened a plethora, a potpourri of monkeys, a box of monkeys with this, a barrel of monkeys, if you will, talking about people exposing the business. Do you feel that fans, smart is in your fucking name? Do you think that those type of people are the ones that expose the business?
I mean, not as much as the wrestlers do, and that brings me up to my next point. The nice little segue. Kevin Matthews is is going on Twitter and quote unquote shooting on Bill DeMott about something that happened 6 years ago. Exposed a picture of a wrestler training bare ass, giving a stink face to a guy. Now wrestling is all about respect, correct? Wicked Nemesis, Eddie, Tasha, it's about respect, right?
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be about respect. Right. That's the first thing they teach you in wrestling training, is to be respectful of the business, respectful of your craft, respectful of everybody that's paved the way for you. Now here's a guy that is exposing the inner workings of Deep South Wrestling, which is now defunct. You see that little 9-month-old baby in the background is agreeing with everything I got to say, because she knows I'm right, or thinks I'm crazy. It's probably the first part.
Second part.
But second part, a little bit of both. So this guy, Scotty Matthews, is talking shit about Bill DeMott, about how Bill DeMott trained guys in Deep South Wrestling, how he's training guys in Florida now, and sends a picture of a guy giving a stink face to another wrestler in Deep South Wrestling with no gear on. Now, as an adult who is 34 years old, why would you do this after 6 years of this happening? What's your ulterior motive? Why now? Right? I mean, if I got a problem with you, Wicked Nemesis, why would I wait 6 years and call you out on Twitter? You know? And how is that respectful? And I tweeted him and said, well, isn't wrestling about respect and all that? And he goes, well, you know, he did this, and this. And I'm like, well, I want to expose him for the phony he is. And that goes back to what I was saying about having respect for the business and pulling the curtain back even more. So you asked me, do these quote-unquote smarks disrespect the business or pull the curtain back? And I'm going to say the people in the wrestling business have exposed it more than any of the wrestling fans have. They're the ones who do the shoot DVDs. They're the ones who have done the Secrets of Wrestling Exposed, which you could go on YouTube.
No. That was just Adam Pearce and Harley Race. That was different.
We've
let it be known here. We've let it be known here.
That's okay. Right?
No, that's not okay.
It's not okay.
Two former NWA World Heavyweight Champions, and if I'm not mistaken, Big Show was the big-headed, blue-haired, big-headed fucker on there also. So Don't sit there and when wrestlers call fans, marks and this and then this, and they're exposing the business. You guys got to take some accountability too. I'm not saying it's every pro wrestler, but if you go in the thing, you have wrestlers now in the WWE who do road agent work. Did a shoot DVD saying how next time they see Triple H, they're going to kick his ass or they're going to whip his fucking ass. And then, the 1000th Raw, they were in the ring, buddy fucking buddy. You know, I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me, you can't come back here, or you got to respect what I do, but I could turn around and be disrespectful. You can't have it both ways. You can't be a heel on Facebook and be a good guy on Twitter. Okay? Yeah, sorry, you can't send your dick to every girl.
Corey, calm down. Your time's up.
Well, that's my time. That's my rage.
Lord have mercy on my soul. That fat fuck right there can go for days. When he rages, he rages. I like Corey, but that was. He does bring up a good point as always. You have to dig through the diarrhea pile of shit that Corey lays out, but he always leaves little nuggets in there, little nuggets of corn in his stool. He brings up a good point about wrestlers exposing the business. Eddie, you know this. There is a wrestler at GCW under a mask of Psycho Circus whose stupid fucking ass went in front of Honey Boo Boo, and when she said, "I want to see Psycho Circus," the stupid motherfucker pulled out his mask and put it on right there in front of her, exposing
I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah, and not only that, Dan Sawyer crawled his ass at the last one, as you know, for doing it in front of Damon Christopher's son. My son has never seen Mudbone without his without his face paint, not a single time, and he doesn't want to. Xavier has went out of his way not to see Mudbone because he doesn't want to, and here you have Psycho Circus's stupid ass putting mask on and then walking around after the show without his mask on, and then just idiotic.
That's stupidity. Look, okay, there were three things that I actually wanted to bring up to Corey. Number one, back in the original days of America Online, much less Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, and all that other crap, back in the days when you had America Online chat rooms as the primary source of conversing and instant messaging, the term was coined internet badass. Anybody with a keyboard, a monitor, and a mouse, and a CPU that connects to the internet somehow or another can be an internet badass. But guess what? 9 times out of 10, when you think you're being an internet badass, you're being an internet dumbass. Huge difference in the two. Phrase that pays is, words mean things, even in this day and time. If all you're going to do is sit back and spew negativity and try to drop the bomb and try to blow the business up and pull the curtain back and wrestling's darkest secrets exposed, you're wasting your time. Because the 1 or 2 people that are really paying attention to something like that are far exceeded by the multitudes who really don't give a damn, who understand things for what they genuinely are. Look, I am a huge fan, and was for a long time, of the show 24. Do I honestly believe that Kiefer Sutherland in the role of Jack Bauer got shot, stabbed, mutilated, blown up, car wrecked, hung upside down, tortured, poked, prodded, pinched, and penetrated every 1 hour that show was on television? No, but it made for compelling television. It was a great show. Women. Oh my God, do you think Wisteria Lane... Well, wait a minute, no, that's a bad one. I was going to use a Desperate Housewives reference, but I've also worked in the nudie bar before, so guess what? Wisteria Lane does exist. The thing about this is, point number 2, workers do more to destroy the business than Vince McMahon ever did.
Quit calling them workers, Eddie. They're not workers.
Wrestlers.
They're wrestlers.
Wrestlers.
Look, hold on. Let me say this right now. The next fucking person that comes on here, with exception of you, because that comes here and calls these people that expose the business workers, they're not fucking workers. The definition of a worker is somebody that protects the business. Going out and exposing it is not protecting the business. These yard tards are not workers. They're barely wrestlers. Those are wrestlers. They're not workers. Workers don't expose the business.
Workers protect the business.
Wrestlers and marks expose the business. Wrestlers protect it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
It's okay. And the other thing that has helped to destroy this industry, and this was made prevalent during the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars especially, greed. I am all in favor of everybody in this business being able to make top dollar if you've earned it and if you deserve it. If you have a strong enough skill set and a solid enough personality to pull off the gimmick to put asses in the chairs, I'm all in favor of your happy ass getting paid. But if you're 1 year, 2 year, 3, 4, 5 year, and you've still yet to find your niche, you've still yet to find your place in this world, Michael W. Smith, thank you for the song, then no, you don't deserve to have the dollar paper flipping your way. And I started to try to say dollar one time and I got caught in the hiccups. But the fact of the matter is, and Tasha said it beautifully, and Tasha knows best, there are people who think that they're bigger than this business. There are people in this business who are larger than life. There are people in this business who are larger than the stage in which they are working. Nobody is bigger than this business. Because somebody somewhere is going to make that ultimate F up. And it's going to end up taking them down a couple of hundred pegs. Work smarter? Damn right. We all agree on that. You can work hard and work smart at the same time.
Nobody ever become wealthy off working hard. They become wealthy off working smart. They made their wealth off people that worked hard. You remember that. For every Chris Benoit, for every whatever you want to about it, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, all these guys with the exception of Chris Jericho that were sound technical workers, they're not making the John Cena money. They're not making the Triple H money. They're not making the fucking Scott Steiner money, for God's sake.
Yeah, really.
They don't make that type of money because they worked hard.
Right.
Those that worked smart are the ones that are at the pinnacle of this business. And that's just how it goes. That's how it is in life as well. But let me ask you this, Eddie. We've kind of hinted at it. You said greed. You believe that greed is what fell wrestling.
One of the factors.
To me, the main factor wasn't greed, because it is a business overall. And most great businesses become great off greed. It was envy and sloth that dropped wrestling. Sloth, the fact that these people, they went and they took all of this information, they got fat and lazy with it. They got fat and lazy, the fans, the wrestlers, all of them, they just got fat and lazy just off this information and this wrestling that you throw 500, 600 fucking power bombs, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, hold on, I got to get this in.
A power bomb used to mean something. Now it doesn't mean anything. Now you can hit with 15 fucking power bombs and you know this and lose by an arm drag. I mean, really, it's sloth and envy. The envy for the fact that these motherfuckers want to be on TV, but yet they don't want to train. They want to be part of wrestling, but nobody wants to get their asses kicked. Nobody wants to pay their money. Nobody wants to pay their dues. And that's even some of the people that have been in this business. I know guys that have been in the business 30 years, never left their promotion, never left within 20 miles of their home. Eddie?
Now, it's funny because, okay, everybody knows that I'm pretty much DJ Jurassic over here. I'm older than most everybody around, and I'm okay with that. You know, when I was watching wrestling back in the days of Georgia Championship Wrestling, the original deal with Gordon Soley and Freddie Miller, one of their top stars was Mr. Wrestling number 2. Wrestling 2's big payoff finish move was the $1 million knee lift. A single knee lift. Line up, run across, pop the knee, roll in, hook the leg. 1, 2, 3. A couple of days ago on Ring of Honor television, I'm watching Davey Richards and Michael Elgin in a corner battle where they're popping 10 knees to the head and then, oh, I can do that too. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, come the hell on. If you hit somebody properly in the head with your knee, they will be concussed to the point where they will fall down, much less trade off back and forth twice each, giving...
Ask Rob Adonis.
Yeah, really.
Ask Rob. Rob Adonis will tell you. J-Rod.
Yeah.
J-Rod is 8 inches shorter than me.
Yep.
Rob Adonis is 2 inches taller than me. With a knee off the apron, he damn near ended Rob Adonis's career.
Yep.
And Adonis will tell you, maybe I didn't turn the right way. That's how quick it is. But Eddie, you've seen it. I've seen it. We've all worked with these guys. I've worked with Davey, and Davey's like that. They all believe that what they see in Japan translates over here. It does not.
Now, the prostitution of what they see in Japan doesn't work over here. What they see in Japan, strong style wrestling does work. The prostitution and the over-Americanization of strong style wrestling is what hurts over here.
I'm talking about the Japanese, and you know this. I'm not talking about FMW.
No,
Which was
I'm talking
the
about
grandfather of ECW. I'm talking about the motherfuckers that go over there, and you know this. The guys that go over there and hit 42 backhands, hit a power bomb, slap each other, they power bomb each other in turnbuckle, and they no sell it.
Look, I'm 5'8".
That's for UFC. That's UFC shit. You want to do that? Go do UFC. This is wrestling, the sport of gods.
Yeah, we'll be doing that this Saturday.
Oh, UFC? Mm-hmm.
No, Strike Hard.
Strike Hard. Oh, I know. Well, yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, mixed martial arts. But the fact of the matter, a good, solid, well-placed backhand will take somebody and crumple them to the ground. You don't have to spin 4 backhands in a row. I'm sorry. Case point scenario. I'm 5'8". You're 6 foot what?
3.
Thank you. If I properly have a spinning backhand punch and nail you in the side of the head and the temple with it, you will drop. If I do it properly. But
dude, you can get lucky and knock somebody out. We've all seen it. Let me tell you something. A long time ago, a man much wiser than myself once said, and I've used this in promos, and I use this when I first got in the business. I tell you about this all the time. Everybody has a game plan until they're punched in the mouth.
Yep.
You know who said that? Mike fucking Tyson.
Yep. I know that very well.
I live by that. That is like my mantra, and I tell that to everybody. And I've told my son that. I've told everybody that because that is words for life.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has a game plan until they're punched in the mouth.
And that game plan gets altered real quick.
Very, very quick. And it's all up to you how you handle it. Do you get lost? Do you keep coming, or do you step back and redirect yourself into another direction? But ladies and gentlemen, we're about to take our last break of the evening. When we come back, we're going to ask the question, and we're going to talk about WWE. See, we are just now talking about WWE, the last segment of it. We're going to ask what we want to know your thoughts. What should the WWE do with CM Punk in this knee injury? What should they do with the title? We're also going to talk about upcoming events, because there is something big coming up December 16th that nobody in the Southeast wants to miss. Do not change that URL right here, TNT-Radio.net, the to be determined show.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park? Getting frisky in the dark, I gave your eye a poke. I think the dog is also in the bed. Do I smell smoke, you and me? We never ever give up.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting in the forest. 1 second, I'm having a smoke. Next thing I know, I'm face to face with Smokey Bear. Wow. And he told me it only takes 1 spark to start a wildfire.
Did you know 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting, as in Smokey Bear. We were about to head home after a bonfire, and Smokey said the fire wasn't actually out. He said if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
No kidding.
I'm a forest ranger. We never kid.
Sorry.
Kidding. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I knew I was stuck at this kid's house for the night, but those guys snuck up on me to try and pull the hand in a bowl of warm water trick. Well, that was enough for me. I went downstairs to sleep in the basement, even though it was pitch black. I left my sleeping bag upstairs, and that was a mistake, because it was freezing. I think it was probably the longest night of my life. To read more about the sleepover, check out Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw by Jeff Kinney. Explore new worlds and check out more cool books at your local library, and visit read.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
You know that the ice cream scoop can make a child smile, and that by slowing us down, the traffic light can keep us going. You know that the lawnmower makes life easier, that the blood bank makes life possible. But did you know all these ideas came from the minds of African Americans? Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Visit uncf.org or call 1-800-332-UNCF. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park? Getting frisky in the dark, I gave your eye a poke. I think the dog is also in the bed. Do I smell smoke, you and me? We never, ever, ever give up.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
Ranger Station.
Hi, I want to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My front door. It was Smokey Bear. My husband was burning leaves in the yard. He just came inside for a second.
Never leave a fire unattended. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
Smokey said that too.
We go way back. I knew him when he was just a cub.
How cute.
If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The full moon lights the silver rails winding around dark mountains and over steep gorges of jagged rock and one freezing cold rushing black mountain river. I wish there was enough time to describe all of the funny twists and turns that led up to now, but there isn't enough time because there's a ticking clock and the two passengers we care most about don't know anything about it. To see what happens next, visit read.gov to read The Exquisite Corpse, a riveting adventure pieced together by John Shuska, Shannon Hale, Daniel Handler, and other popular authors. Explore new worlds. Read. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Brian turned to glance at the pilot, who suddenly had both hands on his stomach and was grimacing in pain. The pilot was having a heart attack. Brian was sitting in a bush plane roaring above the northern wilderness with a pilot who was either dead or in something close to a coma. The plane committed now to crashing fell like a stone, and Brian braced himself for the crash. Explore new worlds. Find out what happens next by reading the book Hatchet by Gary Paulson. For other great book ideas, visit literacy.gov. A message from the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Stanley, and I've been arrested for stealing shoes. I didn't really steal them, but I...
Ferry residence, Tooth speaking. Sorry, there's no credit ferry here. What's that? He magically raises your credit score? Yeah, there's no credit ferry. But you can improve your credit by paying bills on time and keeping your credit card balances low. Money under your pillow? Sorry, kids only.
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there is help, and it's free. Go to creditferry.org. Brought to you by the Consumer Bankers Foundation, the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights Education Fund, and the Ad Council.
Well, unfair. You mentioned unfair. Do you think it's been fair to everyone here and everyone all over the world for you and Dolph Ziggler to perpetuate this crap about the AJ scandal with she and John Cena? Is that fair? Don't you think you owe them a little something more than just an apology, like making this match official?
Go.
Cena and Ziggler for Ziggler's Money in the Bank briefcase. Just one of the matches that has come up for TLC, which is in what, 9 days, Eddie? About 90 days. About 9 days. I'm sorry, 9 days. 90 days. In 9 days. Now, there has been something that has happened.
Yep.
I think Ziggler and Cena, that's going to be a great match. Two guys that can work their asses off. Vince showing up. And what about Vicky Guerrero actually telling Vince that he was dismissed?
Oh, that
now
was...
We're gonna,
Go ahead.
Now we're going to play something really quick that Eddie has for us to set up what happened this past Monday night when Miz, prior to what has actually come up since then, Miz come out and told CM Punk that he wanted him to take a lie detector test.
Prove that you have nothing to hide. Prove that you are in no association with the Shield by taking a lie detector test.
There you go.
The Shield. Every time I hear the Shield, I just want to puke. I want to be like, edit, radio, edit. It's like a Kid Rock song. Now, when all was said and done, Miz, how do you feel about Miz as a babyface? It seems that Miz is a babyface to me. He's trying. What happened Monday night kind of pushed him a little bit further towards a babyface, especially with his movie coming out. Eddie, your thoughts on this?
I'm really kind of enjoying it because when Miz comes out and starts into the really, and the fans play along with it, and then he starts playing back with them, and then lo and behold, there's two little bits that really just kind of...
Who am I?
Yeah, really.
See, I'm the guy that cheated, I scammed, I took all the shortcuts possible when I was WWE champion, but at least I have the guts to admit it.
And that in itself got a nice little pop out of the crowd. It's like, holy crap, he's coming clean. And if you when you're in the role where you can give the fans that honesty, they're going to turn around and give it back to you.
But that right there, a heel never tells that he's lying. He never admits his faults. That, more than anything, this past Monday night, I believe, was the teetotal push for Miz to be that babyface. You and I both know they've been pushing for a little bit. We talked about this on Beyond Ringside. Sunday nights, 5:30 Central Standard Time, right here on this very URL. With that being said, Miz was kind of like the fans didn't know what to accept. They didn't know what to do. He was getting the smattering of boos still, as Daniel Bryan is. You and I talked about this off air.
Right.
Daniel Bryan is all of a sudden now total babyface. Miz and Daniel Bryan, who were hated heels for some time. And in fact, I've heard people say that Miz is the type of heel that you don't dislike him, you just despise him so much that you change the channel. That's not the type of heel you want to be. And a lot of people have said that he is that. Maybe this is what he needed. He needed this resurgence, this turnaround, and I believe it started Monday night. No matter all the other matches leading up to it, meant really nothing. That was kind of the foundation, the very basis. You were pouring in the cement. Now it's hardened, and Monday night, I believe, was his reckoning, if you will.
Now,
the fire rises.
Yeah, really. Noting the fact of what has happened, and I'm still kind of curious because John Cena can have a partial tear of his meniscus and not need surgery, and CM Punk has a partial tear of his meniscus and is in Birmingham the next morning getting cut.
Now, he had a slight meniscus tear.
Right, which is the same thing that they were reporting that John Cena had a few weeks ago.
You and I know we kind of
twisted his ankle.
Here. We kind of break kayfabe on here now. Let's just say what it is. We know Cena didn't tear his meniscus. He sprained his ankle because he's a fucking goof. He wears a size 15 shoe like I do. Actually wears a size 16. But he has huge feet, and he fucking stumbled and sprained his ankle.
Yep. Why couldn't they just tell the truth?
What happened with Punk now? Now you know this. Punk is a striker. Punk uses his elbows, uses his forearms, and his knees predominantly. Him having an actual knee injury, even if Cena had a legit knee injury, would be totally different. You and I know this. Cena can work with it. I don't think CM Punk, his wrestling style, and his wrestling style being an independent wrestling style, as we all know, he just happens to be able to work the camera. Hi, Blur. With that style, quote unquote, he needs it more, especially when with his, I hate using the word finish, with his signature move, his go-to move is the go-to sleep. Your thoughts?
Well, I have to sit back, and there's a couple other ones that I want to hit real quick. If you've noticed, there were actually a number of verbal flub-ups during Monday Night Raw. I have to love the factor of how Vicky stammered her way through making the match official, because if you'll listen to this part...
Okay, so Cena versus Ziggler,
right,
in a TLC pay-per-view for a Money in the Bank ladder match.
You got it. Way to go, Vicky.
At a TLC pay-per-view, she didn't. Can you kind of figure what? Not dude, I didn't stutter that bad on my first date. I used cue cards, and
but she was also putting off is that she was scared and hesitant that he was there. Now WWE.com posted something just a few hours ago. They're saying that due to the torn meniscus knee injury, CM Punk has been removed from the WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view, and the WWE Championship TLC match against Ryback has changed.
Right.
Instead, it's going to be, Eddie?
I believe it is going to be a 6-man TLC match.
Yep. It's going to be Team Hell No, being Kane and Daniel Bryan, with Ryback against we do not name of. The Firm, as I'm going to call them. The Shield. I hate calling them that. It's such a stupid name. The Shield. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I love the factor of how they put it up there on the .com as an official letterhead. Vince McMahon. Recent events on Raw have led me to make the following match at the TLC pay-per-view. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, The Shield will take on Team Hell No and Ryback. This match will be a tables, ladders, and chairs match, and for the first time ever, it will be decided only via pinfall or submission. Very nice. I was sitting back watching when Ryback was bringing out the table, the ladder, and the chair, not necessarily in that order, and I came out of my room where I was hiding under the influence of great drugs, and told my roommates it's at this exact moment that I genuinely miss the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian, the innovators of the TLC match, because all three had their specialties. Because, you have to be able to figure out sooner or later that these things come from somewhere, and the newer wrestling fans aren't going to know this. That's why you've got a wealth of information on YouTube. You've got it on the DVD sets available. Hey, you got the TLC up. Do I have it up there? Yes, I do, matter of fact. The fact of the matter is, you get a chance to go back and look over the history of these matches and find out, A, why they are some of the most exciting matches, and B, why are they some of the most terrifying matches for the people who were in them, Wick.
This match in particular is one of those matches that literally cuts years off your career. But I have a problem with this. Ryback was put through a table is kind of what started everything. Why didn't this just become a tables match? Because it's all about tables. Second of all, Randy Orton and Miz were beat up by the Shield on Raw. Why are they not his partners? And with this being said, Kane and Daniel Bryan obviously are not going to defend the tag team titles. And it has been pushed that they were going to defend the tag team titles against Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara, correct?
I believe so.
So what happens now? So now you're going to have the primetime players, perhaps, against Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara. Rey Mysterio cannot take any of these gimmick matches anymore. I mean, the man is hurting his knee at least once a year. I don't know. I think that Punk not being a part of this will hurt the buy rate. And let's reminisce for a second of a time long ago, Eduardo. A land before time. Back when if you didn't defend the title in 30 days, you were stripped of that title. And here you have it. First of all, you have your NWA World Tag Team Champions that haven't defended their title in almost a year.
The tag titles?
Oh, yeah.
They've been defended within the last month.
Well, that's the first time they defended in a long, long time.
Yeah, they actually defended against the primetime players and successfully defended.
I'm sorry. NWA World Tag Team Championships, I said.
Okay.
I'm just throwing to that old
NWA
adage, that old 30 days of defending.
Right.
It's very rare that you see this, that you see a title not being defended every 30 days.
I don't know. I worked for a company that didn't defend the title for about 8 months at one stretch.
Yeah, Eddie, but they're not those aren't world champions. They can call them the GCW World Tag Team Champions all they want. I will never refer to that, and we're the GCW Tag Team Champions. I swear to God, I will never call the GCW champion or titles the World Tag Team, because they're not the world. That's disrespectful to everybody that's actually defends their title across the world. To me, that's a spit in the face to Tasha Simone. To me, that's a spit in the face to Adam Pearce, whether they like the guy or not. To me, it's a spit in the face to everybody in WWE, even TNA. TNA barely defends their shit outside of Orlando.
Yeah.
They can barely call their stuff a world title. But that's just my opinion. Once again, they reflect me, and they do not reflect To Be Determined Show, TNT-Radio.net, and especially the commissioner, Matt Lane. But this is something that it set Twitter ablaze when it was reported that Punk had emergency surgery, as it was called, emergency knee surgery.
Yeah, and he didn't. There was no reported sighting of him at Sammy's either. So hey, I don't know how emergency it was.
Because he's not Kevin Nash.
Now Nash was cool.
Yeah, but Nash went to all the titty bars.
Yeah, well, Nash went to Sammy's.
I know Nash went everywhere.
There you go.
Nash also fell all over the tables at half shells because he was too drunk to stay.
Now, I can't say that because when Kevin came in Sammy's, I was there that night, and he ordered bottled water.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's very good for him.
Yeah, when I first heard about the injury to Punk, and I've got to play this one more. The fact of the matter is, I'm thinking the first thing that I popped in, and I'm watching some of the tweets, and I'm watching some of the Facebook notes, and
that's the fact that today being day number 379 of CM Punk's uninterrupted reign as your WWE champion, tonight at midnight, CM Punk will tie, and tomorrow night at midnight, and here's the key phrase, CM Punk will surpass John Cena as the longest reigning WWE champion of the entire modern era.
And he went on to say that that would include the past 25 years. First off, my hat's off for WWE Creative keeping the belt on Punk that long. I'm impressed with the fact that they've let this run continue over one calendar year, because you and I, having watched WWE product and know people who've been in the WWE for a number of years, remember there was an old rule when it came to some of the championships: 3 pay-per-views and out. If you kept the belt over 90 days in the WWE, any belt over 90 days, that was considered to be a major accomplishment. Back at Generation 2 of Beyond Ringside, when we were on the Alabama Radio Network and on satellite, it was a case of we would be able to sit back and say, well, this person's had this belt since this pay-per-view, they're going to drop it tonight. 9 times out of 10, they would, Wick.
The thing about this is I don't believe it was just creative. I think creative was pressured by several veterans, several legends in this business. I know Booker T was very vocal and very open. Kevin Nash, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mick Foley. Just ones that I know of personally that were very, very, very vocal about keeping this. And I don't want to exact quote, but I will paraphrase a tweet from June of this year, when Kevin Nash begged Creative to actually keep the title on Punk as long as they can. He actually said until this WrestleMania, just to prove that with what's leading up to the Royal Rumble, because that's really what they're building to, Royal Rumble, CM Punk against The Rock for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This is just something that's just, I mean, God, he passes, or he ties John Cena on the same day he has emergency knee surgery. Just saying.
Well,
put some tussin on it.
And a lot of it.
But I digress. Everyone, we will talk more about this next week. We may cover this this Sunday on Beyond Ringside. Right, Eddie? That's
very possible. 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, right here on this very URL at TNT-Radio.net. Yours truly, Wicked Nemesis and Mark Mabo Bowman.
Mabo, the breakout star. Mabo, we miss you.
By the way, I'm disappointed in you.
Join the crowd.
Well, there you go. No, because number one, you haven't made a reference to the fact yet that we're actually going to be going YouTube with a video-esque version of the To Be Determined show, which is going
I was saving that for the end.
Oh, okay.
That was the end. That's Eddie. Calm down.
Okay,
Greenhorn. Don't go so fast.
Hey.
I know you're new to this station. We do things different around here, sir. This isn't Beyond Ringside where you're very straight-laced, stick a thumb up your ass and just go with it.
Well,
no,
it is 8 minutes before the top of the hour.
Yes, sir. But really quick, December 16th. Toys for Kids, not Toys for Tots, Toys for Kids in Trussville. Eddie, if you will, sir, tell everyone about that, about the power that is about to be bestowed upon Alabama, sir.
Well, the stars of Global Championship Wrestling and the stars of the Underground will be in full force on December the 16th in Trussville, Alabama, around the North Tavern. Going to be doing a very special benefit show, and a lot of the stars are going to be there. It is an opportunity to come enjoy some hard-hitting professional wrestling action that can only be brought to you by Global Championship Wrestling. It is going to be an all-ages appropriate show. Bring the kids, bring grandma, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, sister, in-law, cousin, twice removed. even if they are from the same branch of the family tree. And I say that because of a Facebook post I saw earlier today. Yeah, be careful how you diagram that family tree and make sure it forks properly. But this, like I say, keep your eyes on GCWPro.com. And actually, GCW Radio will be airing this coming Sunday night, 9 Eastern, 10 Central. It'll be handled through BeyondRingside.com. And we'll be able to give a lot more information this weekend. We'll give the full lineup and let everybody know exactly what's going on this Sunday night.
Now, one thing that has been talked about and is probably going to come to fruition, your GCW Tag Team Champions, the Unlucky Charms, will be defending against Full Throttle. Everybody's been wanting to see this. It took place in Pell City. We won. It took place in Canton, Georgia. We won. So now, Trustville, Alabama, there's only two things, Eddie, and you know this. There's only two things that happen that you can be guaranteed of. There are two things in this life that you know for a God-given fact that are omnipotent to everything outside of wrestling. When the Unlucky Charms show up in your town, when we show up in your wrestling event, when we're on the card, Eddie, what are the two things?
Shamrocks and shenanigans.
Shamrocks and shenanigans, yes sir. Now, I have actually talked to Damon Christopher and Chris Knox yesterday when this was brought to light. And guess where they were, Eddie?
Where at?
In the gym. And I could tell because I could hear Chris Knox. And I was like, what is he doing? And literally, Damon Christopher told me, oh, he's putting 785 pounds on the squat machine. I mean, this man is a beast. For anybody that has not seen Damon Christopher and Chris Knox in person, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it is a sight to behold. Them winning the GCW Tag Team Championship is actually on blip.tv and on my YouTube page. And speaking of YouTube, we have another big announcement. Not only will each week will we have a special guest host from our great fans, Eddie, go ahead.
We're actually going to be dual casting for the most part. We have created a new channel over on Ustream.tv, but that feed will be going without the annoying Ustream commercials directly over to a brand new YouTube page, and we'll have all that information coming up this weekend. Since tonight will be the first installment that we'll be posting on Ustream and YouTube, the URL hasn't been given a pure, a clinical definition, or the custom URL, as I would like to call it. So as soon as we get that loaded in, set and ready to go, we'll be able to put it up on Twitter and our respective social networking pages.
That's right, people. We are taking this full steam ahead.
Yep.
You have to make sure, and let me just say something really quick. I wanted to say this, I wanted to say it to Kerry, but Kerry got it really quick. For all of you out there, I have some words of advice. Don't put all of your shit out on YouTube and all your shit out on the internet. You can put up your promos, you can put up your backstage stuff, if you're filming something here and there, do that. But don't put all your matches up. You know why? Because then nobody's gonna fucking come to see you. Because all of your matches and all of your career are out there for everybody to see it. You have to give them a taste. That's why most of my stuff, yeah, there's matches up. But for the most part, there are not a lot of matches because I want people to pay to come see the Unlucky Charms, to come see the Merchants of Death. I mean, that you have to have that mindset. Remember, people, it's a business. No matter what, you're a business. The Merchants of Death are a business. Eduardo.
See, and that's something that I would very openly tell wrestling promoters who have television shows.
Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, we're looking at you.
Who, me? Would I do something like that?
Never.
Quit putting every fucking match from the show on television. Yes, I just dropped the F-bomb.
I do say I'm shocked that the heavyweight title match between Micah Taylor and
it didn't need to go on television.
It's so hard not to call him Blur. O'Hagan, friend of the show, O'Hagan.
Look, I gotta say this,
and I say Blur. My daughter's like, ma.
I'm shooting from the heart on this one. I've known Dan for years. I love Dan like family. We've had our falling outs. We've had our reconciliations. We've ate, drank, and imbibed. Oh boy. Yeah. Hello, Jaeger bomb. Even before Jaeger bomb was fashionable, it was just a bottle of Jaeger and a bomb. And this has been my number one complaint, not only with us because I'm a very proud member of the Global Championship Wrestling family. The truth.
Okay, Eddie, we're going to leave it right there because we don't want you getting in kind of trouble. Now,
but
with that being said,
every freaking match on TV.
Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble.
2 minutes before the top of the hour.
Yeah. Eddie, how can everyone get in touch with you, sir, and what do you have upcoming?
Yours truly. Find out at FastEddieLane.com. Also, Twitter at FastEddieLane, LAYNE. Facebook.com/FastEddieLane. Also, be sure to check out the official Beyond Ringside sites at BeyondRingside.com. Real quick, if I could, want to say a very special thank you to Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander for coming on this past weekend. Also, David Elder, Matt Lavelle, Eric Anders, Walt Harris, all of the stars, or most of the stars, from the Strike Hard Productions SHP 20 that is going to take place on Saturday, December the 8th in Birmingham at the Zamora Temple. The cast of the To Be Determined show and Beyond Ringside will be there in full effect. Yours truly, Wicked Nemesis, Mark Mabo Bowman, and then some. We will all be there at the Zamora Shrine Temple ready for some kicking ass, serious fun, mixed martial arts style from Strike Hard Productions. Thanks, guys.
And I just want to say thank you to Kerry Awful for coming on. Tasha, as always. Tasha's in the gym, as she always does this week, or at this time each week. Also want to give a special shout out to all the fans out there that have listened. To Danny Only for being in Afghanistan and still making sure he catches every show. Damon Christopher, Chris Knox for listening. All of the GCW locker room that obviously listens. To UIW, who has a show upcoming this week. I hope you guys do big things. Stan Robinson. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, next week, we will have our first guest co-host. We are bringing the power to the fans right here on the To Be Determined show. And our guest next week, this is a bombshell. I'm fucking tired of answering every question about why what happened with this man. I'm bringing my flesh and blood. The wrestling hybrid Orion Bishop will be on with us next week to tell everyone what he's been up to and to tell everyone why he walked away with such a promising, prominent career ahead of him. Totally walked away from the sport and never looked back. Thank you to our fans. Thank you to Stan Grove for his time he's put away here at TNT-Radio.net. Wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Make sure you catch What a Maneuver this Sunday. I think it's That's Awesome on Friday nights, I do believe, and of course Beyond Ringside this Sunday. This is the Orc of Honesty, Architect of Intellect, the Wicked Nemesis, and Fast Eddie Lane.
Until next we meet, have a great week.
And also a big thank you to Corey Smartrage. Great stuff as always, sir.